Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Business Show with myself, Eugene, and my awesome co-host, Willie. And today we've got another special show for you guys. Someone that's in a different line of work. So it's not your average business owner that we normally interview. It's something a bit different. So looking forward to today's show. And then, thanks for everyone for joining us. Thanks for joining our live show, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe and share with your friends and stuff. And then, Willie, I think for anyone that's new on here, if this is the first time that they are joining EHQ and joining our business show, what's EHQ about? What's the business show about?
Cool. Welcome, guys. Eugene, welcome to another epic show. So, guys, EHQ was born out of our love for entrepreneurship, and we wanted to start a give back project. And this is how the business show actually started. So we firmly believe that we as entrepreneurs can fast track each other's success by actually modeling after other business owners that's had more success than us. So that's kind of how this thing got born. For everyone that wants to join our community, we've got a mastermind, which you can join the links below this. And then, guys, so welcome to the show. And the purpose of this is if you can walk away today and you've learned one thing, then we have really achieved our goal. So, guys, and then like Eugene said, we like to spread the word. So please like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do with these videos. But let's get the word out there. Enjoy your other business buddies, and let's create success and grow together. So, Eugene.
Yeah, so thanks, Willie. It's and today's show is pretty cool as well. It's, as I mentioned, something a bit out of the norm. So we're interviewing a guy called Andre. So Andre is from a company called Rob Spice. They've been in business for quite some time. Willie's Rottweiler, she's eating up the parrots again.
No, it's Grootfontein Jackals.
And so today's episode, we're talking a bit about sales, talking a bit about manufacturing, and finding out about the journey of Andre. So, Willie, I think pop Andre into the room and let's get the business show started.
The crowd goes wild. Andre.
Welcome, Andre. Thanks for joining our show.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Willie. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. So, Andre, just a quick breakdown or overview. How did you get to this point where you are today? And just tell us a bit about yourself.
A bit about myself first. My name is Andre Cook. I'm a co-owner in Rob Spice, Pretoria. I grew up in an Afrikaans house with Christian values and norms. I'm one of 4 children, the second one. My thing that I do, what I am, is I'm first and foremost a salesman. I'm a co-owner in a company, as I said, but my passion lies with sales. Then I'm a husband and a father of 2 boys, and those things occupy me and keep me happy.
Yeah. What, the wife or the children?
The wife, the children, and the business.
Yeah, cool. Once again, thanks, Andre, for joining us. So we've interviewed quite a lot of guys on this business show, and there's one question which we ask all of them is, describe the day or the moment where you actually, kind of got that feeling that you can't be an employee, you need to be an entrepreneur. Share that story. It would be great. Thanks.
I think there's a lot of people. I might have grew into it more than I knew of it. But what I can tell you is from very little on, when I was playing with my little toy cars and that, I was always either the doctor or the boss of some kind or whatever, the builder, or it doesn't matter what the scenario may have been. So I pretty much knew from young on that I'm not a corporate type of person. Growing up, my dad was in a corporate company. They provided very well for us, and he had opportunities. And so I think that gave a lot of structure to my thoughts, but I knew that I wanted to do this for myself. I don't want to be in a corporate company.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
amazing.
I think the same story from all of us. As soon as you think you have to be just another number in some corporate business, I think it's changing quite a bit. It's not as bad as it used to be. But thinking 10 or 15 years ago when we started our businesses, yes, I don't know. Willie, you went through the corporate space.
I went through the corporate thing, and when I picked up my payslip that one day, and when your payslip number is longer than your ID, then you know that it's time to move.
No. Andre, something that I'm quite curious about. I actually saw a stat the other day that I can't remember the exact percentages, so don't quote me on the exact percentages, but there's about 650, 700,000 businesses in South Africa. And probably about 70%, if I remember correctly, are below 1 million turnover per year. And only 7% of businesses ever achieve over 10 million per year. So that's about a 800,000 Rand per month sort of thing. You guys are quite past that. What do you think are some of the factors that contributed to you achieving a relatively top of the line success? I mean, it's only 7%. You're part of 7% of businesses in South Africa. What contributed to that?
Yes, Eugene, honestly, for a long time, we also battled to first get to the 500,000 mark and then the 700,000 mark. And then all the time, all along, a million seemed so far away. And I think the difference came in for us getting, well, I actually want to say partnering with the right people that we got involved from outside, not necessarily your business partner, but people that can help you with advice and to have knowledge of other people's businesses and how they got their businesses to that point. And then also you have to have a vision and you have to have the need to grow out of that. Obviously, you get to a point where you want to change your personal income and you need to grow your business, so therefore you need to make drastic a decision sometimes to get to the point where you grow your turnover. And also, I think, yes, my business partner and I, we had long chats and big arguments and everything about this. And we came to a point where we streamlined our business a little bit, where I went and I did marketing and he went and he did production, manufacturing. So there was a turning point for us in that, is focusing more on what you like or what you're good at and streamlined it like that. And initially, it will feel like everybody has too much to do, but soon you work out your new routine and you see that this is a much better system. So that definitely helped for us.
Yes, some key stuff there: system, your team, who's on your team. And then, as you mentioned, you're a salesperson. It's I think sales is such a vital role in business, something that gets neglected. Yeah. We confuse sales for sitting behind a laptop and posting something on Facebook. Then it's like, yes, I did a lot of sales today. No, you didn't.
What our business as well is that I'm more of a, what would you say, a doer and an admin style person. So it's much easier for me to go, although I have a shy side like everybody do, but to go into and
really?
I'll say that, really.
Do you have a shy side?
No, well, in the morning especially, but and tackle it one-on-one. I like people, and early on in my life I also realized that I want to work with people, but not in the way that I work with their problems. So this was for me also almost a nice solution. You can make a living out of it and work with people every day and build relationships with that. And one of the keys for myself in my life and our business was the fact that I like to build long-term relationships. And this is why this type of business also worked for me. I'm not in services, I'm in sales of a product. So it's very important for me to build up relationships with buyers and companies and give them a long-term solution to a problem or a need.
Yeah, so important talking about relationships. And I think that's one of the things that people most often forget, is that people buy from people. And if you start building those relationships, those are the types of relationships which takes you through the tough times. And, So the question that I've got for you as well, Andres, you've guys been at this for quite a long time, and you've had your ups and downs like any business owner does have. A lot of guys get into business and they think that I'm going to register this thing and then tomorrow I'm going to make a ton of money. But then once they start going through this journey, it's this up and down and this up and down all the time. The question that I've got for you, what are some of the things that you do when you feel that you're going, I almost want to say go down in the dumpsters, to pick yourself up and just to move forward? Because at the end of the day, I think the guys that succeed is the guys that's got that grit to move through those difficult times.
Resilient.
Sure, Willie. Yeah, everybody handles it differently. What picks me up quickly is that if I can get to one of my bigger customers, people that I know that are of such a size that they can fill up a truck quickly, and it also helps if it's a good payer. If you can get to one of those people, they're normally more positive. So have a good chat with a good customer or a friend in business. I have friends in business as well, and everybody goes through this. But for me, then what helps is to have a conversation or a one-on-one with one of the bigger customers. If you walk into a shop and it's busy and you feel that vibrance, and it picks me up immediately.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you get to these people that are very successful, their outlook on life makes your little problem seem so small and insignificant. About it.
It's just before we carry on, I just want to mention to the viewers, guys, grab a pen and paper. Tony Robbins has a saying in a lot of his videos. He says, success leaves clues. It means that to achieve success, it's not a magic formula. It's not something you wake up and Andre and Willie can contest for it as well. It's hard work over a long period of time and eventually become successful. And people say overnight success after you put in 20 years of soeg en sweat.
Blood, sweat, and a lot of tears.
So success leaves clues. And just out of some of the stuff that Andre mentioned, I mean, we were speaking already about sales, using your team, about networking. Then what's his pickups when he goes or when we go through the ups and downs. And the ups and downs doesn't go away when we reach $1 million a month or 10 million a month, or even these companies doing billions. So we were talking about this morning about Facebook that lost something like $7 billion in one day because they went down. And it never ends. So you need to have.
The bigger you get, the bigger the problems.
Yeah. So I think just out of the first 10 minutes, Andre already shared some really valuable clues that you can immediately take and implement in your business. But knowledge without applications is not going to change anything. It's the action part that is going to make the difference at the end of your business. So guys, please go and write the stuff down, keep a pen and paper handy and go through it. Andre, you mentioned something where you go and you speak to someone that's on a higher level than you, or someone that thinks differently, or something around that space. What do you think is the difference why some of these guys build billion-dollar businesses and other people struggle to build a $1 million business? What do you think is the biggest differentiating factor between these two extremes?
Yeah, I had this conversation this morning with somebody, Eugene, and it's definitely your thought process. It's how you think about things, and not only about business. I think it's also of how you perceive yourself, where you put yourself in the line of this whole process. And although it's not easy, and we all like to carry on and share the stories of the tough times and the difficult choices and what, but the key, I say, and one of the things that made a big difference in our lives is that when we got to a point where we said we need to move on, don't dwell on something. If something went wrong, if something out of your control happened, plan around it, move on, put it behind you and move on.
Yeah, it's such important advice that,
Yeah.
Fail fast.
Don't be scared. Don't let a bad decision of the past hold you back in future. Yeah. You have to show the grooms to carry on.
Yep. No, That's such a great advice. Andre, so you're a salesman, and I've got a sales question. Now, I said to my wife the other day, who would have thought that an accountant would need to do sales? So if someone comes to you and they say to you they want to start a business, but they don't really want to do sales, what would you say to these guys?
Well, I think everybody's business needs some type of sales. So if you feel so strongly about it that you don't want to do sales, get somebody involved that will do the sales for you. Yeah. Whether it's your service or your product, get somebody involved and somebody that's passionate about it. And it will also help if you get somebody that's passionate about either the service or the product that you have to offer.
Yeah, I think that's such an important part of business. And out of all the guys that I work with in companies, and even if you look at some of the most successful companies in the world, the guys who really scale has got a exceptional salesperson at the top. And I think that's a big part of your scalability as well, Andre, is that your business was in the fortunate position where you have a business partner that's more operational and you're very strong in sales. So if you've got someone that can generate income, and then once the sales comes in, someone else to actually complete that process, it's just such a magical combination. So talking about the sales, do you think people are born salesmen, or is it something that they can learn on as they start doing their business?
I think you can learn it, but I think it's more born in. I think it's about a personality thing. So that's what I said earlier on. I knew I wanted to work with people, and this was the way that I got to working with people. And I think a lot of people, or a lot of companies forget this often, that they work with people and not with products or whatever service they provide. People work with people.
It's such valuable advice that people work with people.
We think sales is get on a call and speak to some ghost on the other side of the thing. We forget it's about relationships. We've got a perception of sales.
Relationships are very, very important, and you can see none of us. I didn't just start up and got involved in a business, and I was a co-owner or of something overnight. So in the past, I worked for 2 or 3 different companies, and I was in a fortunate position to work for those different companies in the same area at that point. And so I already had a relationship with customers that I could fall back on. So, and because they trusted me and I gave them good service, obviously with the backing of the companies that I was working for at that point in time, but they trusted me as a person and a salesman enough to spend their money with us. And I think that's the key for me to that. And then also, if you are a salesman and you get to a customer or any form of negotiation, never overpromise, rather overdeliver. Yep. Be honest, even if you're going to give the guy bad service because of whatever situation you have at the moment with it, in our case, transport or ingredients or whatever, promise what you can deliver. Yeah. Whether they like it or not, they'll be happy for it.
You just mentioned it about the trust, and you can't build trust if you can't deliver on what you promised them. And trust is so crucial for the long-term viability of that customer as well, because they eventually almost become your friends.
That's true.
Yep, it's almost like you're not known for what you're good at. You're known for that one stuff up that you've made, eh?
Yeah.
Good example of that is Tiger Woods. What? I mean, Tiger Woods has been, or he was probably for the longest period of any golfer in quite a long time, the best golfer in the world. And now if you bring up Tiger Woods and you say, Tiger Woods, that golfer that cheated on his wife.
Yeah. Bill Clinton, okay. So it's such important advice. So Eugene, I think I've got one last question, and maybe you've got one last question, and then we go into the section which we call the hot seat, Andre. So, that's a surprise for you. So, my last question to you is, You guys have a reasonably big business and you're doing manufacturing. How important is a proper system to help you succeed in this business?
Sure. Well, I think it's one of the most important factors in running a business. And that was also a turning point in our business. You have to have an accountant or a reliable accounting program which is maintained daily. And that you have to be able to track your performance daily. Earlier years, we were happy to track it once a week or once a month even, and you can't make decisions based on that. You have to know daily where you stand, what your overheads are for the month so far, what your sales are, what your profit margins are, to be able to move on swiftly.
No, definitely enough.
I want to add to that system needs to be maintained by someone. And there again, partner yourself with the right bookkeeper, the right in-house bookkeeper as well, and the right people that needs to process information in your company.
Yep.
And information is so critical to make decisions. If you don't have the right information, it's very difficult to make decisions. Like now you shifted your business focus and it was based on the numbers. It wasn't an assumption that you made. It wasn't just a thumbs up. It's actually based on the numbers of your business.
And it's just amazing, I came from a client this morning as they've been operating for years, and I asked them, so just give me a rundown of your numbers and things like that. And those guys literally didn't have anything. And my next question to them was, but why are you having a business? Because if you can't measure stuff, you can't fix it. And I think you guys do it quite well, Andre. I know, especially with stock's quite a huge thing, and those systems just keeps the tabs on that immensely. So, but yeah, thanks for that.
Without the systems, it's like leaving the door of the safe open. And we had a good teacher. Thank you, Willie.
So, Andre, just a last question from our side as well is, if you had advice, or if you could, someone that's watching the show and that wants to start their own business, what would your advice be to them?
I'm sure if you're at the point where you want to start a business, you hopefully know what you want to do. So it will help if you do something, or you go into something that you have a passion about, or that you have knowledge about. I think without that, it will eat you up. You need to trust in your product if it's a product. You need to trust in your service if it's a service, and you need to be the best in it. But the foundation that you lay before you start is very, very important. And those are about the systems, who your market is going to be, who you're going to partner with, and you have to have a vision of where you want to be in 2 years' time, and 5 years' time, and 10 years' time from now, to be able to measure yourself and to track it, to track your performance.
Yep.
Yes, that's some really good advice. I think you missed your calling. Maybe you should be like one of those business speakers or something.
It might be easier in the short term, but I don't know if I'm cut out for it.
Cool.
So, Andre, we're getting to a part of our show at 5 questions. Just whatever is the first thing that comes to your mind. I'll ask the first question, and then Willie will go after that. No explanation needed. A short answer as possible. Just whatever is the first thing that comes to mind.
Are the wrong answers?
Cool. Eugene, just before we jump into the hot seat questions, Andre, if anyone wants to get hold of you to buy a small house full of spices, where can they get hold of you?
Sure. Firstly, they can check the number on the bottom of the screen there and come with your cash.
Yeah, so guys, Andre and them's got a big manufacturing business for spices. So all types of spices. Andre, your ideal clients, who are they? So if someone's watching with that type of business, who should contact you?
Okay, we focus on people that are buying in volume, so supermarkets, cash and carries, wholesalers mainly.
Okay, so guys, if you cash and carry wholesalers, if you want to buy in bulk, spices in bulk, and vinegar, if you want to buy vinegar and spices in bulk, contact Rob Sposs, and you can contact Andre at the number on the screen below. Andre, thanks. So let's get into the first question. What is the best advice someone's given you for your business?
To be consistent and to plan.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Lekker. So my question, what's your next big adventure?
For business or for life? We recently moved our premises, and the thing we're busy with now is expanding our vinegar plant. We're very excited about that, and so for now, that's the first thing.
Lekker.
And then on a personal level, lockdown's coming to an end now. The world's opening up their borders eventually. What's the first place, if you could travel anywhere in the world for a week, where would the first place be that you'll go to?
I would love to go to Scotland, Ireland, those type of places where that's where my ancestors are from.
Have you been there before? Just off topic.
I have not.
Okay, so it would be a first-time excursion.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
So last question from me, Eugene, before we go over to your side. So Andre, what advice will you give your 18-year-old self?
Play hard, but not for too long. and open your mind up early on of what you want in 10 or 15 years' time, and work hard for it. I'm sure if you put in not even 5 years perhaps of hard work and training, whether it's studying, whether it's training, whatever your passion is, do it well and acquire information, read and listen to a lot of books, the things that young men don't want to do. And build relationships, personal relationships even, that will last a lifetime.
Oh, that's very cool. And then last one from my side, if you at the end of your life...
Eugene, but you can't ask that question, man. That other one you said you want to ask, you can't ask that one. Not today, please. Not on air.
So you get to the end of your life and you're standing there at the pearly gates, or maybe they're next to Lucifer, depending on how well you lived your life. And you look back at your life, what do you think will be the most meaningful thing that was in your life?
Well, if I can leave something behind to think about, that would be, I would like to be known as a good husband, a good father, and a good teacher. I would like to know that people think back and say, you know what, this guy came across our path and we really learned something from him. We purpose, the Afrikaanse word. And that people see you as a responsible and respectable and honest person.
That's very cool. It's so few people that really know who they are, what they stand for. If you, I've asked a few people now recently just to see what the response is. If you had all the money in the world and you can do whatever you want, the first thing they say is, "No, I want to go travel." Okay, and then what then?
And what
when
then?
you're done traveling, what are you going to do? No, that's all. I'm just going to travel. So that's the extent why you're working 16 hours a day for the next 40 years, so that you can go see a country and then come home and sit with your feet up and watch TV. So just to know that, or to have such clarity about yourself, who you are and what's important to you in your life and what do you stand for and what's your legacy going to be. I think it just shows you the difference in thinking between someone that's reached a certain level of success like Andre and then someone who's just starting out, and how important it is to bridge that gap as soon as possible. Even for us to bridge the next gap, important is to do that as quick as possible. So, Andre, really cool show, and thanks for sharing your wisdom. As I mentioned, I think you missed your calling. You should be a frontline speaker or some sort of thing.
I will be that for you guys.
So yeah,
And then,
Andre, just from my side, thanks so much for taking out of time out of your busy day to come and have a chat to your viewers and to our viewers. Without you, there will not be a show. And hopefully, you've learned one thing today. There was a lot of nuggets that Andre shared today. Van the man,
hey.
my co-host, thanks so much for joining and showing up every Thursday. But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, share with as many people as possible.
Cool, guys. See you on our next weekly business show. Cheers. Thanks, Andre.